I want you to think about this. First, let me say that this is the number one principle if you desire to achieve success in your life. If you don't get this one single point, if you do not even consider this one single understanding, you will continue to live a miserable life. This is the number one principle for a successful life. So whether you desire more prosperity, more wealth, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental, whether your desires to have loving and close relationships, whether your desires to find your soulmate or someone to share your life with for the rest of your life, or whether your desire is to improve your health or build on your health, whatever it is that you desire, if you do not consider this one thought, if you do not integrate into your very being, your understanding of this one principle, you will always fail. And what is this principle? What is this understanding? Well, consider this thought. The number one common denominator of all ultra successful people is that they know how much they don't know. Meaning they are always fully aware, most of the time, that they don't know. Now, what does this mean? Most ultra successful people have a extreme awareness, a self-awareness, that where they understand that they must be coachable, that they must be teachable, that they must be always in a state of learning, where they're consistently not only sacrificing time and energy, but resources, money, to learn and to gather new data, new facts, new knowledge. And let me regress a little bit. Sometimes they even sacrifice even more time and more energy and more money to continue to learn and integrate the same knowledge, the same data of information, so that they can continue applying that same knowledge, that same information, to make sure that they are doing the right things long enough, consistently and correctly. This means that if we desire to achieve ultra success, or even a measure of success, we have to be in a place where we are fully aware that we don't know, that there's a lot that we don't know, and that there are those that know more than we do. If we don't get this one single principle, that we have to become a learning machine, someone who's consistently learning new information, new knowledge, we will always fail. And I'm going to prove to you why this is true. Consider the nature of life. First of all, just kind of reflect back. Think to yourself how your life came about. Think of the country you were born. Think of the state or the city, or the community that you were born with. Think of who your parents are, the people who gave you life, that you were raised with, your mom and your dad, right? Think about how you were born in a place, in a land, in a country, to parents that essentially we had no choice but to be born under those circumstances, your individual, your unique circumstances, where you came in into this world with a blank mind, with a blank slate, right? Where your parents became essentially the gods of your life. They're the ones that loved you. They're the ones that raised you, that fed you, that took care of you, that taught you what they knew up to that point in their life. Think of how we essentially have no control over that process. And thus we are fed exactly who they are. So not only our parents, but our parents' friends, their surrounding community, who they accept as their friends, their family, uncles and aunts and cousins, also their religious belief systems, their political belief systems, the country's belief systems, whatever, religion, if you're a Christian or Muslim or whatever religion you testify to, whether you're Jewish, think of how you have but no choice but to be born within those parameters. And you were fed information without the ability to have a bias or a filter, or without being able to have the ability to think about what you were being fed. And since we are born into this community with a blank mind, we have but no choice but to accept every single piece of data, information, and suggestion, beliefs that we were surrounded by. We have but no choice but to believe as everyone else believes around us. There was no critical thinking. There was no questioning, no ability to perceive different ideas, right? So think about that process, how early in our life we are given a foundation of information that objectively, if we look at it, it's not objective. It's highly subjective, and it's highly based on what people's opinions are, what they believe to be true. Not what is factually true most of the time, but what they believe to be true. Most of the time, their opinions. Now, this could be good or bad, depending on the nature of that information, that knowledge, that understanding. And this is because we have to reflect back and realize that the information that we know, or the quality of thinking that we have, essentially the quality of our mental philosophy, our beliefs, will always determine the quality of our life. There's no way around that. This is how it works. The quality of your philosophy about life will always determine the quality of your life. So how is your life right now? Is it full of, happiness, joy? You have wealth, prosperity, not only physical, but mentally and emotional. And is it due to, your, how you were raised, those beliefs that you were born under, the things that you were fed, since little? If your life reflects exactly what you don't want, because you realize it kind of matches, the life of your parents or your community, and you realize that you don't want that life and you're trying to get away from that, then we have to understand that the foundation that was given to us, if we realize that our life is not where we want it to be, then that information has to be drastically changed. It has to be built upon. It may have to be modified completely, reformatted, given new information, new knowledge, new understanding, new perceptions, new cognitions. Because that's what is going to change your life. We have to become a massive learning machine. We have to be able to know how to gather data and information that will essentially propel us forward from the place where we don't want to be to where we want to be. It is so important to acknowledge that, because many times we don't want to make, our community leaders, or those people who we have grown to respect, their beliefs or what we were fed to. Maybe it was a religious organization, maybe it was a parent or an uncle, whoever it is that will influence your life drastically as you were raised, that gave you the quality of thinking that you currently have now. Then it is your job to become self-aware of what kind of beliefs do you have about life that essentially create your surrounding life, your personal reality of how your life is. If your life sucks, it's because your thinking sucks. It's nobody's fault but your own, essentially. It's like, I keep going back. Yes, it's true. We had no choice but to have learned what we were taught as little, since we had no filter. But now, if you're old enough and you understand that there's this, availability of knowledge and understanding and wisdom and books and audiobooks and of so many people through social media who have a better life than you, then are we humble enough to acknowledge that? Can we see that their quality of their thinking has gotten them into a better place than we are? And therefore, are we humble enough to see that, to acknowledge that, to be self-aware that there are those who are doing better than we are, that they're in a better place than we are? And if we want to be where they are, do we realize we have to change our thinking, and that most likely it will be advantageous to match the quality of thinking that they have, so that we, in essence, may continue to create something better, or get to that place where those people we are learning from are. Do we know that? Can we acknowledge that? This is number one challenge that we may have when it comes to achieving success. It's our lack of awareness, humility, to know and understand, and to give positive recognition that those people who have created lives that we perceive may be better than ours, then we should strongly consider learning from them. Let's not worship these people, but let's put them in a situation in our lives where what they're saying may be more important than those people who have taught us since we were little. That is, if their life is better than those around us, is it better than our life? This is the number one principle for success, is being aware that there are other perceptions, other points of view that most of the time we don't realize. They are better. They will give us what we want if we acknowledge it, if we actually do the habit of thinking about these things, of integrating other people's points of view, of those people who we want to learn from, because they have what we want. They have what you want. So are you actively looking for these people? Are you actively using the tools that are available, that weren't available, over 10, 15 years ago? with the touchscreen iPhones, and how the internet has exploded the past 20 years, and how there's so much information now available that we can grasp. We can finally know even better than ever before what it takes to succeed. But it doesn't matter how much information there is if we don't take advantage of it. There's a saying that goes that you can take a horse to the river to drink water, but you can't make the horse drink, from the river. So, are we being stubborn? Do we have the humility and the acknowledgement where we can see that there are those who have more knowledge than we do? If we don't, we will always be stuck thinking we know it all and blaming everyone else for our lack of success. And we will fail. But if we decide to be a learning machine, then we will start to make the trip from point A to point B being where we want to be. So let us always keep a teachable attitude, a place where we want to learn from those who have what we want. So let's make an effort, a decision to always be like that, so that we may become successful, so that other people may also come to see your success and want to learn from you eventually. But let's keep that humility in place, because it takes humility. It says that pride is before a crash. If you are crashing through life, it's because you don't have the humility to learn from your mistakes and to learn from other people's mistakes. There's a saying that goes that the fool will learn from his mistakes, but the wise one will learn from other people's mistakes. So let's keep that in mind. Let's make that a part of us. All right, look forward to my next rant. Put a like or a comment and let me know what you think of this.